everybody, welcome to the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. You can access this show by typing in www.themicroeffect.com, then click on the appropriate links, the chat room links. Come on in, make friends, get acquainted, solve some issues, cooperate, come up with a game plan. I'm also published at different websites. You can go to byebyebluesky.com, getcanada.com. Check out the different sites. Check out the web pages for me everywhere. augmentinforce.com, YouTube's independence.podomatic.com. I'm all over the place these days. Anyway, I want to get into some things. We're talking about geoengineering, and I got to tell you, I'm up here in Windsor, Ontario, and yesterday we had temperatures near 60 degrees, 55 degrees, somewhere in that ballpark. It was nice and warm. Today I'm in a blizzard. It is a blizzard out here today. We are in the blizzard realm of the geoengineering phase. Now, this snow doesn't look like snow. In fact, it's quite heavy. Now, when you see something like this going on, you may want to reconsider going outside because you may be dealing with something on a nano scale. They may have released a pathology, a biology, a nanobiology, a synthetic biology in this weather when it's like this. The last time, the last time they did this, or something like this, a lot of you had respiratory issues, and they're still suffering from the respiratory issues the last time they did this. So, keep the biofilm buster on hand. Essential oil of thyme, essential oil of oregano, the essential oil of savory, the essential oil of cinnamon, the essential oil of clove, the essential oil of cardamom, the essential oil of nutmeg, the balsam fir essential oil, the pine essential oil, Scots pine essential oil, trying to think of the other oils you can use. Even turpentine, keep it around, kerosene. These things can help break up biofilm. You might want to use minerals like zinc, copper, manganese, vitamin C, vitamin A, iodine, selenium. Okay, start thinking in terms of countermeasures. We've done shows before on measures and countermeasures. We are being assaulted on a daily basis, whether it's through frequencies, through DNA damage from your phones, from your towers, from your portables, from the ELFs, EMFs, RFs. It's not just one frequency you're getting hit with. Keep that in mind. You're getting hit with a variety of different frequencies. Even from your monitor, you can be getting hit with a frequency that can cause DNA damage, or can cause mental damage, or can cause other issues. So you have to remember that for the most part, most of you today have issues because you've already been compromised, and anything above and beyond where you are at right now will tip you over the edge. So when you see the weather going from that dramatic, from a mid-50s, 60 temperature zone to a basically blizzard mentality, you know you are being assaulted. You know you're being manipulated with the weather, and you know something is going to be in that mix coming down from the sky. This is weather warfare, weather modification. And this weather, again, is not designed for us in this way. I mean, I'm down here, we're in the sunniest, warmest part of Canada, and I got a blizzard going on. So when we're looking at, what we're dealing with today, what we're seeing today, okay, don't assume anything. You can't afford the luxury. Start thinking. I had mid 50 degree temperatures yesterday. Today I'm in a blizzard. What is going on with the weather? That's what you should be thinking. Don't allow yourself the delusion that the television tells you. You have no luxury for that. None. They are all liars. All of them. They don't care about you. They just basically, they're entertaining you into a state of stupor and sleep. They're making you laugh. They're making you giggle. They're propagating their whatever the TV is telling them to propagate. Their strings are being pulled, and now they're carrying on with the show. So when you see all this kind of stuff going on, ask some questions. Make some statements. This is not normal. Now imagine this. Think for 1 second. What if, and again, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. I want you to start thinking. But what if what they're actually doing right now with these blizzards, they're actually seeding the ground with insects. New biological insects that are now nano-designed, DNA modified, which will now carry something on a small scale, a scale where you can't see, maybe some kind of life form that will now attach itself to you, infecting you with some new and improved pathology that came out of a lab. I'm not going to say man's lab. I'm not going to say it came out of a lab. I want everybody to get past the thing that man is doing this, man is doing that, man. Oh man, Start opening your mind to something that might be out of the ordinary, but may have merit. We're not the only life forms in this universe. We're not the only life forms on this planet. There may be other things here that we have been put to sleep to think they're nothing but myth and fairy tale, but in real reality, they may actually be not myth and fairy tale. Something to make you go, For those of you who might think I'm a little strange, well, even Jesus, when he went and rebuked the Sanhedrin, what did he call them? Sons of serpents, sons of, snakes. What was he referring to when he said that? Something you might want to think about. Again, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just being a devil's advocate in a sense. I'm trying to get you to think and process maybe in ways that you have never thought about thinking before. Just so that you have the capacity to think. Because you have to start thinking that maybe, just maybe, what they told you may have been a myth, may not have been. We all talk in terms of the devil or Satan or Lucifer, in these terms, but nobody really takes that to heart. What if it's his lab that this is coming from? Just a thought. Just a thought. Just want to make that, kind of throw that out there, because again, I want you to think in different terms. I mean, nobody would have ever thought that snow could be used as a weapon. Nobody ever thought in the past that weather could be used as a weapon. Nobody. Here we are. And now, let's take this to another level. Again, being a devil's advocate here. What if what's in the snow coming down, which isn't snow, but a chemical cluster of biology and chemistry that may be actually landing in the soil, and maybe, just maybe, might negate or neutralize or add a new genetic code to the soil's bacteria that will now infect the plants? What if this is what this is doing? Again, getting you to think. I'm trying to get you to think out of the box. When you see something this bizarre happening, when you see something this bizarre happening, when you have a weather front one day and it's beautiful and the next day you have a blizzard, you have to start thinking what is going on. The weathermen will come up with some sort of cockamamie story about this or that or whatever. You know what I mean? It's always the same nonsense, the same, this is a freaky blah, 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 because the sun and the moon and the stars, they lined up a certain way, and we have this new pattern of blah, 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 and, they never can give you a straight answer, because either they don't know or they don't want to tell you. So again, I'm pointing that out to you so that you don't get caught up on the, on the fantasy. The fantasy of the weather, like I said, when you're looking up and you're saying, oh my gosh, what are those lines doing? I heard this week a couple places said they didn't see a chemtrail going. Then I said, well, maybe something invisible. You don't know. You don't know. Don't take any comfort. I look at this when I hear some people say this. Don't take any comfort that because you didn't see a chemtrail that day, that they didn't do something in the sky, or they didn't activate some kind of a monitor or some kind of device. The idea that to get you off guard and make you relax your guard is always going to be there. You need to be aware of that. You need to be aware that just because you don't see one of the phenomena that they're doing doesn't mean they're not doing anything. In fact, they may be preparing for something bigger. So what you may see a lull in the storm, a typhoon is coming shortly thereafter. And again, I'm pointing this out because I think it needs to be pointed out, because people get caught up in their laurels and they get caught up on, well, okay, we're finally done with that now. Boy, was that a long time. Boy, are we finally done with that? Then the next thing you know, something worse is around the corner. Things ain't what they used to be. No. Let me read some stuff to you today. I want to get all over the place, about different things and, the importance of fat. They're telling you that you need to lower your cholesterol, lower your fat, man. You get too much fat in you. But it's fat. It's the fat that helps our wounds heal. Did you know that? Those of you who have the nano poisoning, you've got the different things going on, and sometimes you see stuff that comes out and it might be like rolled up white material or like a tube-like material. That's your body's fat that's trying to fill in the gap where the nano poisoning has caused you damage. And what happens sometimes is if you squeeze it out, or if you use the bucket or the bath, the triangle bath, or you use a foot bath, you see this stuff come out in the water. It looks like all this white stuff all over the place, this white pelletsy stuff. That's your body's fats coming out. And what's happening there is the cells underneath there, their nano may still be there, will now come out, and whatever fat isn't connected or bound to it will also come out. And this is what is happening now with a lot of you. Some of you are seeing stuff thinking, oh my gosh, I got parasites, I got this, I got that. No, what that is your body fat. Let me read this to you, okay? Fat gets a bad rap, but it may be critical to wound healing. A new study suggests, the developmental stage between larvae and adult, they're talking about fruit flies, and they're transitioning, going from one stage of life to another. And then cut a small hole in the pupae with a laser. Within an hour, the fat cells had swum around toward the wound. The team reports today in developmental cell. Actomycin, a protein complex responsible for cellular contractions, was responsible for the fat cells' worm-like propulsion, called peristalsis. Worm-like propulsion. So you may see fat wiggle around or appear to be moving. Researchers also discovered that the immune cells known as hemocytes arrive at the wound first, and when the fat cells follow, they brush the hemocytes aside. Fat cells continue to show up at the wound even when the researchers deactivated the hemocytes, indicating that the hemocytes aren't signaling the location of the wound. Both cell types work together to heal the injury, with the hemocytes removing cellular debris and the fat cells tightly plugging the wound until new tissue can grow. So when they tell you to lower your fat intake, lower your cholesterol, they're opening you up wide open for your body's inability to repair itself. If you don't have enough fat in the body, again, your body can't heal. And when we're talking things on a nanobiological level or synthetic biology, we're dealing with something on a very small level, but because they are so small and they can cluster to such a high volume, they cause a severe amount of damage and can take a long time to recover and heal. This is why so many of you who have the nano poisoning, which again is called Morgellons, which is in my humble opinion been mislabeled, your desire to eat more fat is the end result of your body's needing the fat in order to repair what has been damaged. So when they tell you that you're eating, oh my gosh, you're eating butter, you're going to die. Oh, you're eating coconut oil, you're going to die. You're eating lard, oh man, you're eating tallow, good night, lanolin. That's because your body needs that fat in order to repair the damage that this synthetic biology has caused a great deal of damage. You have to understand, those of you who are showing signs at this stage, and those of you who are more advanced who've been purging and whatnot, you have to understand that we all have been hit with this relatively hard, and we've got a lot of damage going on because probably, in all probability, this had already been manifesting in our earlier stages of life. We just never noticed it, or never was turned on, or it may have taken a certain time frame before your body got saturated with the material and then started having the reactions. So when you see this kind of study and you understand that you may be craving more fat, majority of you who have the nanomorgellons or nanopoisoning synthetic biology are probably eating twice or 3 times the fat than you are eating protein and very little fruit or vegetable, because your system needs the fat and the protein primarily. You may need to eat some kind of sugar or glucose in a day, no more than 50 grams, or the equivalent of about 3 tablespoons of sugar in a divided, not straight white processed sugar, but that would be the equivalent of it. So we don't need a lot of sugar, but we do need a lot of fat. We do need protein. Okay? Sugar is one thing we really don't need that much of. So I want to point this out because, like I said, I think it's important that you understand the machinations of our bodies and how they work. And sometimes we've got things under a scope and you look at us, oh my gosh, I got a parasite. In fact, it may not be a parasite. It may be just the way your fat has wrapped itself up so it can move through your body. Keep that. Like I said, a lot of things that you've been told about yeast infections and parasites, chances are a lot of you may not have either one. But you may have nano damage, which then would create a condition like this where the fat particles will have a worm-like propulsion, and as a result of the worm-like propulsion, you may look like a parasite. And in all truth, it isn't. So again, keep that in mind. Keep in mind we're dealing with something very, 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 very camouflaging today. And when you're looking at the leaders of the free world not doing anything to keep their citizens free of this mess, then you know you're on your own. And you know you need to meet with people who are also trying to come up with solutions in order to fix this problem. So again, do not allow yourself the luxury of assuming that this is this or this is that until you've actually studied the nature of nano poisoning and how it actually affects you, how it can affect you, how it's going to affect you, and what happens when you get activated. See, when the activation comes in, what happens when 5G turns on? And all those particles inside you have some kind of nano construct or nano programming. And they turn on the frequency. What happens to these people that have got that frequency inside of them, or a programming now running inside of them? What happens to them? See, this is a $1 million question that they cannot answer because they've never tested. So don't allow yourself the luxury of assuming anything, especially when it comes to the medical people. Majority of them could not tie their shoe with Velcro. Some of them are pretty good. They try their best, but chances are they'll tell you a bunch of stuff, give you a bunch of pills. You'll go home, try them out for a month or 2, or maybe 3, and in the meantime, whatever was inside you has grown that much more, 2 or 3 in that 2 or 3 a month period. So again, get on it, study it, access the information. Again, augmentandforce.50, augmentandforce.com. There you can go online, go down midway, and you can see the information that's there to give you a heads up on what you need to do in order to be prepared and to take care of yourself in the times that are coming. The times that are here, they're repeating themselves over and over and over and over again. Oh my gosh. All right. I got an article today which reflects the planet, really. Norwegian government's dietary advice has no scientific basis, and majority of the government medical advice today doesn't have any sound scientific basis. What they've got are reports, papers are written by people in the past just to gain ground with the government, and that the government would use to pay them some kind of monies or whatever. But these things are extremely out to lunch. When we're looking at Norway, they're typical mainstream. Shots, vaccines, drugs, and whatever the doctor tells you. Okay? And if they tell you that the cholesterol is bad, you can't drink milk unpasteurized milk because of the high cholesterol. That is that's such farcical nonsense. But anyway, I'm pointing this out to you because alternative views of excellent nutrition. Now let me read some of these things to those of you who are going to a doctor and you're going to get a statin drug or some kind of drug for cholesterol. You may want to pay attention because a lot of things that they've told you is completely wrong. Completely wrong. The official dietary advice should be include reflections on how our evolutionary past is shaped our dietary life and lifestyle needs. The idea is if you're from an ethnic background, if you're from another country, if you were born, in an ethnic family or a family that again has a different culture than what you are around, then their dietary lifestyle and way they do things is going to be a little different because they ate differently wherever they were. So this has to be taken in consideration. Human biochemical and anatomical individuality should be recognized to allow for individuals that differ in their dietary needs. Again, there is some truth to that, but for the most part, it's usually the diet is depending on the construct of wherever you are. The diet is pretty much shot. Unless you're putting it together. So that's another thing you might want to look at. Makes a difference. The field of orthomolecular medicine should be recognized. It's not emphasized in the official discussion of nutrient needs. Okay, orthomolecular people know more about vitamins than even the doctors do. Should know more. Okay, let me put it this way. Should know more. But a lot of them don't. So what winds up happening, you go to a doctor and he reads off of a script and does this and does that when it comes to vitamins because he doesn't really know what's going on. So like I said, at that stage, again, keep in mind this is what you're dealing with, okay? Keep in mind this is what you're dealing with. The need for vitamins and minerals, trace elements, and semi-essential nutrients should be thoroughly discussed because in the modern diet they are inadequately supplied. Okay, for example, supplemental vitamin D3 is currently recommended during winter months, but the doses advised are inadequate. Many recent studies show that the benefits of adequate doses of vitamin D from sun exposure during the summer and supplements during the winter, adults 2,000 and 10,000 IUs a day. Again, that may be true, but that's one thing to get the sun converting the vitamin D from the skin. It's another thing altogether to take the D orally. This is where I draw the line in regard to that. I don't think you should be taking more than 1,000 or 2,000 IUs all year round, no matter what. Unless you have somehow bled down your vitamin D3 because of the LED lights above you. So again, if something like that has occurred, then you may want to consider. But then consider also that when you leave wherever you are, they may have these towers and things. You're going to have to detox when you get home, wherever that may be. So keep these things in mind because, like I said, it's more than just today, reading a text and going along. Today it's more about reading a text and testing what you read because you don't know. You just don't know. Megavitamin therapy should have place in government. That's just one thing that the government sort of frowns on. People go into a health store and buying something, even though it's working for them, the government won't pay it. That's slowly but surely changing today. The advice on the macronutrients should be changed to advise a much lower intake of the calories as carbohydrates. Yeah, carbohydrates, again, they're way overrated. Oh, I hear the music. Come on back. We're going to get into carbohydrates. See you in a bit. Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to The Remedy. Hi, I'm your host, Tony Pantelleresco, and you're listening to us live on the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. We're talking about, certain things that should maybe be incorporated as the real deal. About megavitamin therapy should have a place in government recommendations. See, the thing is, all these things that I'm talking about should have been the standard protocol pharmaceutically as well as nutraceutically as well as through allopathic or any alternative. Before we start exploring medications and drugs, we should be exploring what they're calling the alternatives, but which should be in all truth the mainstream. You know what I mean? The mainstream today is out to lunch. And when we're talking about, dealing with cancers, for instance, we know intravenous vitamin C's have been used in the past. Vitamin E, vitamin A, zinc, selenium. And with a great deal of success. Yet to this very day, these things are not used like they should be. And everybody's missing out. Everybody is missing out on this, because if you're not having the option or the capacity to first fix yourselves, then you know what, you go get caught up in that medical thing there, and it's a nightmare to get out of. Even your thinking under the medical establishment, the medical mafia, it's very difficult to get out of the thinking in that realm, because you get caught up in the fear and anxiety, and then they give you drugs, and then that's not working. This is what a lot of you do. I'll give you an example what a lot of you do. You try an alternative method, and it may not work right away. But you've already used the allopathic method, and that's not working at all. Period. Well, instead of giving the other method more time, you go back to the allopathic method. See, that to me is a bit of a yo-yo. That to me is a bit of a yutz. See, if you are broken down, if you have some kind of health issue, irrespective of what it is, okay, it has taken time for your body to have been compromised for such a long period of time that you have now broken down at this stage. It doesn't happen overnight. So whenever you're trying to fix yourselves, it's going to also take time to repair the damage, step by step, inch by inch in some cases, because if you go the pharmaceutical route, they can suppress the condition. Doesn't mean they have cured it. Okay, let me repeat this. Let this get in your head. It might have come out in Swahili. I know I'm speaking English, at least that's what I'm hearing, but some of you may be hearing it in Swahili. So I'm going to try this again. Okay? Just because you don't see something working right away, you may need to understand that it may have taken decades for you to have broken down to the point at this stage where you have become discompromised. Now, sometimes things happen to you that is beyond your control. That's different. But when you've gone through life for the most part and you've been feeling okay and healthy, and all of a sudden you come down with something and you can't shake it for the life of you, that's because somewhere in your system for a period of time something has been going wrong and it finally let go. So then when you go take the allopathic medicine, whatever they give you, the pharmaceutical script, and you take it and you say, well, it doesn't work. What do you got? So when I tell people what they need to take, is sometimes they go back to the doctor. And their response sometimes, well, it didn't do anything. So you've only been on it one day. You've only been on it one day. But it didn't do anything. So what do? They go back to the doctor's nonsense, which hasn't done anything for them at all. In fact, they've gotten worse on it. But this is the thinking that most people have today. This is the thinking a lot of you have. You're not thinking clearly. And you've been so conditioned to run to a doctor for if you got a hangnail up your backside that you don't know how to pull it out anymore. You keep on going. And all these guys do is load you with medications. And then you say, well, doctor, the drugs aren't working anymore. He gives you some more, or makes the ones you've got stronger. See, when you tell the doctor that it's not working anymore, the doctor realizes that your immune system is already compromised, been that much compromised that much further. It's been broken down that much more. So now he'll give you a new and improved version of that drug to further escalate or de-escalate your life force. Like I said, I get amazed sometimes. Some of the things people tell me really make me raise an eyebrow or two, when I hear some of them say some of the stuff. So then I think sometimes all they really want is attention. They really don't want a solution. They don't really want an answer. Sometimes that's what I think. I do. I think, but then after that, I just let them go. I don't bother with them anymore. If they come back, they come back. But they don't, they don't. Wake up on that reality. If something came out of the blue and hit you, then again, you may be wanting to look at, the full spectrum of everything. Were you feeling good? Were you feeling strong? Were you feeling up? Whatever. And then now you're down, you can't get up. Well, that could be either you were directly assaulted with something, or this has been accumulating for a great period of time, and now it has pegged you at this point. Some of you are getting targeted. Some of you are targeted individuals. And you've been getting hit and you've been breaking down. That's different, but the same rule applies. You are going to have to come up with an alternative to what they're doing. Mainstream has nothing to offer you in regard to having something built or that you can buy. You are on your own. And when you're looking at the effects of whatever you're being targeted with, that's what you need to start in this perspective. Where do they have a stronghold in me? Because in order for them to do something like that, they would have to put the tech in you, and it would have to be someplace where they can access you at any given point in time. Could be the base of your back, could be center of your back, upper back, could be the base of your brain, could be anywhere. Could be your big toe, could be on your cheek, could be anywhere. So when we're looking at time in regard to, healing, even for UTIs, don't remember something. You have been loaded up with nanoparticulates since 1960. 1960. And God knows what else they were doing up after the Second World War. They were using a pesticide called 2,4-D. Caused genetic damage, birth defects, You probably were exposed to it if you were born in the 50s because that's what they fed everybody. So when we're looking at what's going on today, understand that you're going to have to recognize it as a TI, that you are loaded with this material which allows a transception. In other words, they can transmit and receive information from you, from your DNA, because they have this crap in you. Detoxification is going to be big as far as removing this stuff. It's when you start removing the implants that's in your body, along your face, along your temples, behind your lobe, below your lobe, at the jawline, along the left cheek, side of the nose, up at the cheekbone. You'll have some up at the side of the cheekbone. You'll have some. You're going to see all kinds of implants come out. And that's just the head and neck area. That's not including the rest of the body. So when you're looking at, that you're a targeted individual, then you have to understand that because they have this access to you, either you have to block your DNA from producing a frequency, or B, you're going to have to wear shielding, or C, you're going to have to get them to turn off the devices that are attacking you. They don't care. And the whole jest of going to a doctor if you're a TI, for the most part, all they can tell you is if your enzymes or hormones or something else may be out of line, may be elevated. Now, again, if you go into a place like that and you are a TI, do not accept that you got high blood pressure. The moment you walk into the doctor's office, the doctor's office will actually be beaming you as well, getting a reading from the AI is everywhere. The AI needs to know where you are all the time. So you would be getting beamed. Okay, so the doctor may give you some kind of suppression, but again, it's going to be up to you to come up with your own bodyguard system to repel the frequencies. We're all going to have to come to doing this. This is something that we all are going to have to start looking at. Creating shielding, even if it's out of material like soft-like material that will either absorb or block the frequencies from hitting us, that will allow us to sleep, allow us to, again, recover. Okay. If you're a TI, you're going to need to recover. You're going to need to eat more fat, saturated fat, lanolin, tallow, lard, cocoa butter, ghee, coconut oil, coconut oil. These are the fats you're going to want anyway. When you eat the butter, you can probably lick the butter right off the cover. You'll go, man, is this ever good? Because your body is in dire need of fat. So again, keep in mind that we are in a war. Irrespective of what you believe or what you think you believe, we're in a war. And it's not a fun thing. It's not one of these, it's not like a MASH unit. They're advertising a MASH, and it's like a cartoon-like setting. They're all happy family kind of thing. It's not like that. We're in a war. And if you haven't been targeted yet, it may yet be coming. I'm not saying this to scare you, but it doesn't seem like anybody today is going to be without exception. And you may find that the more awake you become and the more targeted you become, or the more active you become, the more awake you become around you, to the surroundings around you, and you begin to see things that you never noticed that were there before. You begin to understand that the people, when you talk to them, have absolutely nothing to talk about except idle chatter, sports, or shopping. That's the highlight of the conversations, or maybe their work. So again, if you see stuff like this happening in your life, don't be alarmed. Be afraid for a short interim, but again, recognize that you now have at your disposal things that can help you again get back on top of your game. Don't allow yourself the luxury of, I can't do it. I mean, who am I? How can I, what am I against them? Blah, blah, blah. Let me remind you of David and Goliath. Goliath was a super soldier. He was a Nephilim. He was fighting a child of mankind. Who won that battle? So again, don't give up. Just don't give up. Just do your studying. Experiment. Look at things. Try things. Try to avoid things that can cause the nano in your body to grow. The one thing nano loves is carbon. Tons of it up there, tons of it down here. If you eat a lot of sugar, if you eat a vegetarian diet, a vegan diet, even a raw food diet, chances are the nano's in the food you're eating, and it loves carbon. So again, if you're going to eat foods, vegetables, they should be root-based for sure. They will mitigate or minimize the effect. Doesn't mean it's going to stop it completely. The broader the leaf of the plant, the more the saturation. That's what they've done. So again, don't be alarmed. Be shocked. Be amazed. Say like, oh my gosh, but then get up and get over it and start researching. How do I protect my body from being infected with nano? Okay, if I've got it in my body, how do I get it out of my body? Okay, how long is it going to take? What do I got to do? What do I have to use? How do I change what I'm doing so that I can minimize any reloading? Because we do load more than once on this, because the nature of the humidifier, how it works as far as, again, the amount you need to take, anything that you're using to make stuff to, again, minimize any kind of frequency, it's costs what it costs. It's very difficult, again, sometimes to do a whole house because of the cost. But work at it slowly but surely. Come up with your own ideas. You'd be surprised how your ideas are just as good as any manufacturer putting products out there today. Majority of the manufactured goods are no good anyway. How many times you buy something that's broke? Then they blame the Chinese, but here it was, made in North America, made in Canada, made in America. Look at this thing is junk. Then, made in China. We need to reevaluate things. We need to think things through. If you get sick because you stepped outside and within a couple hours you're feeling like crap, they released something in the air. If you go outside and it takes about 2 or 3 days, that means the thing has incubated inside of you for 2 and 3 days and now is letting go. Okay, in other words, it's spreading through your body. Recognize this. Okay, think about this. It's a form of biological weaponry, but using nanotechnology, nanorobotics, nano telomeres to do this kind of thing. We are no longer in 1970. I keep telling everybody this. We're no longer in 1970. We are not there anymore. It's funny sometimes, when you hear things. I was looking up glutamine, and this seems to explain a lot of things, why some of you women get a lot of headaches. Let me read something to you. Kohler et al. 2006 suggested a chronic depletion of neuronal glutamate stores described by Halber as a result of the defective glutamate cycle. They respond that because the low glutamate concentrations in the cerebrospinal fluid were established with the use of chromotopography, which is not sufficiently sensitive to define glutamate concentrations are accurate in a very low range. It was not possible to include the deficiency of glutamate in the cerebrospinal fluid as one of the features of glutamine synthesis deficiency. We need glutamine to remove ammonia out of the body. A little bit of ammonia breaks things down, but too much can kill you. So it works in conjunction with arginine as far as helping remove the ammonia out of the system. And if you combine glutamate with arginine, you produce another type of nootropic, which is supposedly equivalent to that of paracetam. So again, paracetam is a very well-known nootropic. So this has similar effect as far as blood flow and connectivity. But that's where it stops right there. Now, like I said, when we're looking at glutamine, this is something you may want to look at for headaches. If the esophageal lining or the stomach lining has been damaged, chances are you're probably going to get headaches. And one of the things that repairs the stomach, the colon, the intestinal tract is glutamine. It too has a healing effect on the digestive system. So again, this is something you may want to keep in mind. You know, the nature of glutamine and how it can be used. You might want to add a little glutamine. If you got a child that's breastfeeding, you may want to put some of your milk in a jar and add a little glutamine to it. You might be surprised. Or add a little glutamine to a cottage cheese or yogurt and then feed it to the child. You might be surprised. How healthy they'll become. You might be surprised. You know, it's important that you keep the gas in the tank. All right, the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. It's a what is it now? It's a network that is an activist network. It's a people support network. Give them your support. Help them any way you can. Give them what you can. Call them up sometimes. Hey Joe, how you doing? Kind of thing. You know. And again, support the Micro Effect. ByeByeBlueSky.com. And myself, where are we at here? Okay, it's coming up. Bye Bye Blue Sky is back at 2018 Green Living Show in Toronto, April 6th to the 8th. Come on down. Say hi. Hey, you might want to talk to people about chemtrails or nanobiology, nanotechnology, synthetic biology. Synthetic atoms. You know, you might want to share what you know. But again, come on by, say hi. Bye Bye Blue Sky is going to be at the 2018 Green Living Show in Toronto. I'll be with Susan Mara as well. We're both going to be there, and we're going to both show you what we got, what we can to help you guys win this challenge that we're dealing with against the odds that we're dealing with and what was going on today. So again, check it out. I think I got everybody. I'm pretty sure I got everybody. Okay, then you also got my site. Go to augmentedforce.com. Look at the catalog link. Check it out. There's all kinds of things there. There's a flash drive. There's a triangle. There's the bucket. There's remedies from yesteryear. There's DVD, CD books kind of thing. So again, check it out. I'm still dealing with mail issues, just so that everybody knows. You know, I don't know what's going on. Some stuff was sent out, people never got it, so I'm resending stuff out. So I'm going back over everything now and double checking, but some things have gotten caught up in the ether, say the least. Woo, gone, poof. So again, bear with me. There's been a lot of transitions going on here of late, so I will try to get to them as quick as I can, as fast as I can, because like I said, I'm still dealing with you guys and what's coming up. All right. And again, I do consultations as well. So if you have need for a consultation, set one up with me. Everything can be done through the email. So don't hesitate and don't be shy. All right. I think it's safe to say that when you're going outside and you're going from one transition of weather to another that's really, really extreme, then you know the weather is being modified. The weather is being altered. The weather is being engineered. And when you start seeing stuff coming down from the sky, it may have biological or nanobiological or synthetic biological agents that could have been genetically or transgenically or epigenetically altered, and then when they hit the ground could create whatever anomaly that they're designed to do. So again, if you can avoid going outdoors when it's hitting like that, it might not be a bad idea, because especially if you go outside and you start getting hit with a heavy wind or whatever, or a cold wind, and you start breathing heavier, more of the stuff that's outside, more of the stuff that's hanging in the air, you're going to be breathing. So keep that in mind. A lot of things ain't what they used to be. A lot of things ain't or isn't going to ever go back to either. We're in a stage today that if the artificial intelligence and the nanotechnology isn't put in check, I don't know if you can do the AI, if you can put that in check, but if the nanotechnology is not put in check, we are going to have more in 10 years, I don't even think 5 years. We're going to have problems we've never faced before. And don't count on the generation today to protect you if you're older. If you're a 50s baby, you're going to be taking care of yourself. In fact, you may have to be still taking care of your kids as well. So like I said, you're pretty much on your own. You may want to check out what you need to do. You may need to check out you may want to prep. You may check out where you might want to live in regard to avoidance of these particulates that are in the air, and plus other things as well. So again, frequencies and signals. So again, keep your eye on what's going on. Don't get caught up in any form of high-end luxury. You know, because again, that may be gone here today, gone tomorrow. With all the things that are going on in the food supply, transgenics, epigenetics, there was another genetics I read earlier today, and all the other things that are going on. The food supply is making some major alterations. And young kids today are very heavily influenced by the chemtrails and by the materials in the air. Go ask your children, your teenage children, how many kids in the classroom are now gay. How many of them are practicing sex but with the same partner? Ask your roommates sometimes when you go in there if you got a big classroom. You might be surprised. Something is wrong with that picture. Should not be happening, but these are byproduct experiments of the military. This is what happens. Remember Haiti? 1970s, they all came over on the boat, and they were all infected with some kind of STD, and a lot of them were gay. Why? Think about it. All right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. But till then, cooperate, solve the issues, and think. Transgenics, epigenetics, genetics, chemtrails. See ya.